going on, Wolfpack Nation, and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, of course, we're going to talk about tonight's game against Florida State at 7:30, but we also have to talk about NC State's game Friday night against number 11 Miami, another one of those tough, heartbreaking NC State losses that come down to the last minute. Going into this game, I predicted State would lose, and they lost 44-41, but I predicted a bigger Miami win. But NC State come out and play great. Give a lot of credit to Bailey Hockman, this beautiful trick play designed by Tim Beck. He scores off that pass from Thayer Thomas, a little trickeration play. Got off to a great start, and then my key was going to be the defense. Could the defense stop the dual threat ability of Derek King? And the answer was no, not at all, and especially in the passing game. But here he is rushing on fourth down, picking up a huge first down early in the first half. And then Derek King, again, that dual threat. First touchdown pass out of 5 he had in this game. Bailey Hockman, but he responded, played his best game as a Wolfpack so far, and it was not even close. He came out throwing the ball on time and on target, and it was nice to see him play with confidence. It looks like he's going to be our quarterback going forward. I know it's frustrating to watch our defense give up so many big plays over and over again in key moments, but you have to understand that Derek King is probably the best quarterback we're going to face all season long, and he tore up the defense. 430 yards passing, 100 yards on the ground rushing. It was his night, and probably it might have been his best game he's played his college career. But NC State stayed in there in the second half. Again, Bailey Hockman just putting the ball on the money this time. Mezzi making a great catch. And you all know, if you watched my previous videos, I've voiced my frustration about Bailey Hockman. I didn't think he was the guy to take over. I thought it should be Ben Finley from now on until Leary was able to come back, if he is able to come back this season. But he proved me wrong. If he can continue to play like this, and Miami is the 11th ranked team in the country, so they have a decent defense at least, and he carved it up. But again, Miami just comes down the field. Every time State scores, Miami has a response. And then how about Bam Knight taking this kickoff all the way back? When I seen this, I was wondering why he was taking that out. Then apparently he knew better than I did, because he took it all the way to the house. NC State, again, taking the lead. But late in the fourth, it was, of course, Derek King backed up near the goal line on a 2nd down and 18. He threw a strike for the first down near midfield. And again, if this play right here coming up had shades of a few years ago on Thursday night against Wake Forest when State gave up a game-winning touchdown, a little slant route, no safety help over top, and all the way to the house to give Miami the lead, and eventually the game-winning score, because Bailey Hockman was picked off on the next drive off that ball that went right through the receiver's hands, so really can't blame him for that. And that was pretty much the end of the game right there. State fell 44-41. A great showing by the offense. Defense just got shredded by Derek King. That's pretty much it. Now that we've got that game behind us, we can shift gears over to tonight's game against Florida State. Florida State 2-5 on the season. They do have that signature win over North Carolina a few weeks ago. They've had a lot of ups and downs over the season. Florida State has had a strange season. They've had a lot of coaching issues. Their quarterback, James Blackman, has now decided he's going to transfer, and they've given the quarterback position over to Jordan Travis, who's played really well. He's had some great games. But their best wide receiver has also left the program, and their starting defensive tackle, Marvin Wilson, is going to be out for the season with an injury. FSU was coming off a loss in their last game to a team that State beat. They lost to Pitt 41-17, and they also lost to Miami by 42 earlier in the season. So FSU struggling as of late, 2 losses in a row after that big win against North Carolina, and it's a lot of crazy things going on. State did lose to Florida State last year in Tallahassee, and that was the last time we seen Bailey Hockman last year. That was his last start before Coach Doran went to Devin Leary in the middle of the season. Also, don't forget that Bailey Hockman is a transfer from FSU, so you know he'll want to come out and play well after having a tough outing last year at Florida State. So look for him to play well, and I think he will. Definitely, coming off a great performance against Miami, this is a team that definitely doesn't have anywhere near the defense that Miami has, so I look for him to have a solid game again. And the key to beating this FSU team is going to have to be slowing down their starting quarterback, Jordan Travis, who's taken over since that Jacksonville State game where it looked like Florida State may lose, but they came back and ended up winning that game. He had 210 yards passing in that game, and they won. He had 191 yards passing in the win against North Carolina. He also put in 107 rushing yards. So again, another dual threat quarterback. He had a long rushing touchdown last week against Pitt. We know State's history of struggling with dual threat quarterbacks, and again, they face another one this week, and they'll have to face another one next week with Liberty. And we won't get into too much detail about Liberty. We'll save that one for next video. But Liberty is a team that's going to be a tough game for NC State. Undefeated Liberty. I don't know who saw this coming. I definitely did not when I made my preseason prediction. But we'll talk about that later. Back to FSU. So the key is going to be stopping Jordan Travis, keeping him in touch. Of course, that was the key. Trying to keep Derek King in touch last week, and we see that did not work out well, and State ended up losing. So we'll see if they can keep him in check, keep him and force turnovers, because he has thrown an interception in all but one start. He's had an interception, so we have to force him into turnovers, get him uncomfortable, and keep him in the pocket is definitely going to be a key. When I made my preseason schedule predictions, I did pick State to lose to Florida State. I figured this would be a tough game coming off a tough game against Miami, kind of like a trap game, I guess. And State would come out flat maybe, and there's a chance that this could happen again. As a State fan, you know, if you know, you know, you understand that State has those games where they should come out with fire under their, with a vengeance, but they don't do that, and then they lose a winnable game. It happens too many times. We've seen it over the years. But I am going to say in this game for my prediction, I'll say State gets the win 38-31 over FSU. I think it'll be a pretty close game, and we'll see. I mean, I've seen some predictions that had State winning by double digits. I don't know if they'll get a double-digit win. That would be nice. You know, I've been wrong before. I would gladly be wrong in that scenario again. But I do think State will pull out a win in the end, and that is my prediction for this game. Before I finish off this video, I just wanted to give a huge shout-out to the NC State Pack pros in the NFL this past week. Of course, last night, NC State... Pretty much, it was NC State versus the Tennessee Titans, and NC State got the win. Phillip Rivers to Nyheim Hines for a touchdown. Nyheim Hines had 2 touchdowns, and then they brought in Jacoby Brissett for a quarterback sneak. He got in for a touchdown as well. So NC State accounted for 4 touchdowns if you count Phillip Rivers 1, Nyheim Hines 2, and Jacoby Brissett for 1. And also, let's not forget, on Monday night, the Patriots game, as they took on the Jets, Jacoby Myers, the star wide receiver for NC State, has been playing a huge part into the new, and since so many injuries have come up for the wide receiver corps for the Patriots, Jacoby Myers has been given a spotlight, and he is taking advantage of it. 12 catches for 169 yards on Monday Night Football. He's just showing off that skill set that we all knew he had, and he's been given the chance, and he's making the most of it. And it's glad to see him doing what he's doing out there. You know, these guys surprised to see him doing so good, and Wolfpack Nation knew all along that all he needed was an opportunity. And a lot of these guys that NC State puts in the NFL, they just need an opportunity, and they make the most of it. So I'm glad to see the Pack pros, and we know Russell Wilson doing his thing, potentially could win the MVP this year. A tough game last week against Buffalo, but he could potentially win his first MVP. And NC State just has a lot of guys in the NFL doing their thing. Bradley Chubb, just to name one. And just glad to see NC State being well represented at the next level, and there's a lot of guys on this current team playing tonight that we're going to see at the next level as well. But I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button for me. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new, and make sure you join Wolfpack Nation. I appreciate everybody for watching, and as always, go Pack.